Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome to Anno 117 Pax Romana. Today I, a British person, will be playing a Roman city builder game developed by a team of Germans and published by the French. What a wonderful combination. I have been playing Anno games for multiple decades now and I think that they can best be described as Factorio meets Sim City. You need to build up islands and fulfill production and logistical chains all whilst fighting off opponents. And now with the brand new game, we're here in Rome. Everyone's favorite time period that they just can't stop thinking about. Comment the last time you thought about Rome. I bet it was a few seconds ago. Now this video is sponsored by Ubisoft, but the rules are pretty simple. They told me to have fun and break the game. So we're going to be starting a brand new game and ignoring my previous character over here in the lovely endless sandbox world. Our governor today will be Maximus Schlongicus, truly a well-endowed noble of Roman society. Right, so welcome to our lovely starting island, ladies and gentlemen. It wants to be called Arcadia. That's a terrible name. No, we need a good Roman sounding name. Something that's powerful and inspires fear in our opponents. There we go. It shall be Corgonia, named after the most noble and inspiring creatures of all, the Corgi. Now the way this game works is rather simple. We need to construct things, we need to build houses, and then we need to provide people with various needs. We can achieve step one of this by building our first few houses. These are homes for the Libertus, recently freed slaves, which means they're easy to attract provided you give them the bare necessities. They require one type of food, either sardines or porridge, and they require either access to a market or access to a tavern. And if you really want to give them some luxury, you can give them clothes and hats. Isn't that wonderful? The thing is, in order to build the things that peasants like to have, we're going to need more wood. And so in order to get ourselves some basic wood, all we need is some woodcutter camps to chop down trees, and then sawmills to turn those trees into planks. Now each of these buildings have various maintenance fees and also require a workforce. This workforce is drawn from our island's population, which is likely to start growing because we're about to start providing them with the basic luxury of fish. Now sardines not only make the Libertus happy, each good we provide them also provides an advantage. If they get their fish, the house gets +1 population and also +1 income, which is good because we're currently losing money. Anyway, still, we don't have time to waste. I need to keep expanding all of these houses. We need as much of a population as fast as possible if we're going to be able to start breaking this game. So as soon as our first few bits of fish are gathered and they're loaded inside of our trading post, that's where our fun can begin. And oh my goodness, we found our first little rival. This is Dorian, who can only be described as a Roman Chadmaticus. He is an incredibly easy AI to deal with. He just simply cares about fitness and exercising, which means he is really easy to keep pleased. Anyway, as we can see, he settled this island just to our east, and he'll start founding his little city soon. Now each island has certain fertilities, which are specific resources that can't be gathered everywhere. For example, on my island, I can collect and harvest sturgeon fishes, but on Dorian's island, he's able to potentially mine for gold. Now personally, I feel like I would prefer having access to gold mines over fish deposit, but we don't always get to pick and choose, do we? Anyway, it takes a lot to actually get our early economy up and running, mostly because we have to wait for some trees to grow, and then the logs to come over here to be turned into planks, and then planks taken to our warehouse. That entire process takes time, but luckily, we can cheat. You see, the game has a Hall of Fame system. I know, it's meta progression, and by virtue of me having played the game quite a lot, I've been able to pick up a few upgrades, like a ship's captain who I can put on my flagship, who massively increases our scouting and the speed at which our ship can go, meaning we're able to scout the world map faster than all the other AIs. Then back in our capital, we can also activate the Roman material pack to just give me 50 tons of free timber, tiles, and concrete. So with our free summoned wood, all I'm going to do is build a little oat farm, so that way we can start making porridge that will grow the population of our peasants. Oh, and we've also discovered our first AI trading nation. So this is Lilybion, which is basically a free trading city-state. We can buy basic goods from them, like sardines, which is a terrible idea because they're really easy to get, or we can potentially sell items to them. And in some very special cases, they sell these specialists, who potentially we could put in control of our ships, or station in our governor's palace for some ridiculously broken bonuses. But we'll be messing about with all of that later. Anyway, my town is now slowly starting to grow as the first 20 Liberti have moved on in, meaning we can now build them a market and a pub. There we go, everyone needs access to a good pub, trust me. So there we go, with all of that activated, our population's going to start growing very quickly. And with our peasants now happier than ever, thanks to their supply of fish and access to a tavern and a market, our population is now grown up to the point where I can start production of two very cool things: tunics and hats. Now in order to produce these two things, we don't actually need anything too crazy, just a basic hemp farm. No, it's not that kind of leaf. Get your head out of the gutter, geez. But yes, all we need is the hemp farm and a sheep farm, and huzzah, the basics of our production chain have been completed. We can now take these raw resources from the fields and convert them into actual goods. Hats provide us with extra money and happiness, and tunics provide us with extra money. And we've now met the second AI of this world, which is Tarragonus Taurus here. He's cute. He's basically an old man who, if you leave alone, is going to be really nice. And if you really make him angry, well, he's also going to be nice too. There's really no downside to messing with him. Okay, now it's time for me to actually start breaking the game a little bit. In this game, we get to pick various deities who we can pledge an island to, all of whom provide various bonuses. If you pledge yourself to Minerva, potentially all of our clothing-based production lines will have all of their productivity increased. However, one of these is not like the other, and that is the wonderful Ceres. Ceres is overpowered for two reasons. Number one, it buffs all of the food production, which is relatively nice. But number two, it massively increases the population of your island, and population is the major determining factor of game progression. Anyway, I still need even more wood, so I'm going to build myself yet another timber industry because, yep, that's the main thing we're needing. More and more wood. Oh, have we hit our first religious milestone on this island? Yes, we have. So that means all of our farms get an extra plus 10% productivity. So if we go over to the oat farm, yes, look at that, 110% productivity. It's perfectly mediocre at best. Yeah, it's really nothing to write home about. And we've discovered the other lovely trader of our starting region. This is Diana, the Emperor's representative. Unlike the other trader, we can sell Diana absolutely any good we have, and she generally will also offer lovely construction materials should we need them. Anyway, I've now provided all of these peasants with all of the things they could possibly want, allowing me to begin upgrading them to the next tier. And huzzah, just like that, we now get to say hello to the plebs. Each time we upgrade a residence, we're basically getting extra population density, raising the maximum amount of people who we can squish inside these residences. But for the time being, we need to provide them with some basic amenities. And for some reason, in the case of the ancient Romans, that comes in the form of garum, which is basically a weird fishy salt drink, is the main way I'd describe it without feeling too queasy. Now at this new tier come new challenges, mainly in the form of producing clay tiles, a necessary building block for the next tier of goods. So I'm going to set up a new production chain over here to make sure I can have a self-sustaining supply of clay. Oh, and also I need even more plebs because we're running out of workforce, right? Let's upgrade a few homes. So our first few bits of garum are now going to be produced, which is fantastic. And immediately they're going to be dumped into the warehouse and handed out to our population, who will begin gobbling up that fishy goodness and in turn generating me even more money. Okay, we've now met the final AI active player in this game. It's Cassio here. He's pretty mean and is basically a local raiding pirate man who's all about slavery. Oh, and as our nation is starting to grow, Corgonia's people ask me what we're focusing on. Is it religion? Is it knowledge? Is it forced labor? We're gonna go for religion because it also makes the Empress happy, and being friends with the Empress is great. We've now achieved Ceres Augusta, which means an extra 20% productivity in all of our farms. And I'm thinking we're going to get started on bread production soon. But first, the Governor's Villa. This is a monumental construction and the home of all of our power, which is why I've accidentally built it facing the wrong direction. Now in the villa we can place specialists. These are people who provide various bonuses, and because I'm able to cheese the game by going through the Hall of Fame system, I'm immediately able to slot in 2 unique specialists, both of whom are going to be boosting our various stats. Perfect, and with 100 plebs now living in our lands, we're able to start building the next set of services for them, namely the Sanctuary here, which is the early religious building of the game, providing a nice amount of happiness and belief, enough to boost our productivity even more. And with our lovely early religious buildings constructed, I'll then move on to knowledge and build ourselves a Grammaticus. There we go. A place of learning has been built. Splendid.
A few moments later.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Anno, where our population has been growing up nicely, but most importantly, I'm about to hand in a quest to the Emperor. Yes, the Emperor asked for 90 tons of togas and 100 tons of wood, and we're about to hand it in. Now, this is significant for one very important reason. It gives us an extra 10 reputation. Now, this reputation pushes us over to 33 reputation with the Emperor, meaning we're now in their good books, where we're classed as being a supporter, which is a fantastic position to be in because it means trading with the Emperor's representatives all becomes slightly cheaper, and we get better prices. And provided I stay in the Governor's good books for an extended period of time, we get to become a supporter, which is going to allow us to truly break the game, because then we can go into the reroll options here and repeatedly re-roll the specialists who will allow us to do some truly crazy things, like produce even more wine, which currently is going very, very well on the island. However, I don't want to just rest on my laurels with my relationship with the Emperor. In an ideal world, we have even more reputation with the Emperor, and one of the best ways to do that is quests. And not just the Emperor's quest, but Tarragon's quest here, which is all about rescuing his wife and son, who the Empress has detained for breaking the law. Meanwhile, I'm doing my best to also clean up the waves from these various pirates who cause, annoying problems. There we go, perfect. So the mission we're given is quite simple. Sail to Diana's harbor to request a pardon for Tarragon's family. The Empress is then actually going to hand over the family, and instead of asking us to return them to Tarragon, is going to say, hey, please drop them off in this unmarked boat. Don't ask any questions, and we 100% promise we're not going to kill them. Needless to say, this is going to make Tarragon very upset when he discovers we basically killed his family. Now, the main way we're actually making a lot of money at the moment is to do with our wine trading. We're able to load up several thousand silvers worth of wine onto a boat and then trade it for good profit. However, we're starting to have a shortage of grapes, so allow me to build yet another vineyard, producing yet more grapes. The efficiency of all of these buildings are really taking off. We're getting 160% production on our vintners, same for our grape plantation. So yes, we're basically churning out money in the form of liquid red beverage. Right, now we're at the port to collect Tarragon's family. So let's go drop them off for this suspicious boat. And so with the family escorted over here, let's simply hand them over. Yes, we get to make a decision here, but we won't see the family again. No one ever will. There we go. Perfect stuff. Diplomacy managed. Now we just need to meet with Tarragon and tell him the good news that his family's been safely taken away in a creepy white van. So we arrive at Tarragon's lovely lighthouse, and I'm sure he's going to understand. Hi Tarragon, you look a little bit sad. Okay, right, he's a little bit upset. Tell me you had no part in this, friend. I'll admit it's my fault. I don't want to blame it on the Emperor because that would ruin my reputation. So Tarragon is now gearing up for war against me. Oh dear. So we've lost a trading partner, but hey, the Emperor's going to like us a bit more, and that's all that matters. And now the Emperor gives us plus 10 reputation. Very good indeed. And she even gives me a ship for my efforts. Perfect. And immediately Tarragon has offered me a non-aggression pact after I killed his wife and kids. This guy has no backbone. But finally I've unlocked the superior Emperor's reputation, giving me much better prices. So with my brand new rank of supporter, we can buy resources for an extra 15% discount, and we can even buy specialists for a discount. Very nice indeed. Now, normally the selling price for wine appears to be 36. However, I believe that because of my additional advantage, yes, my wine now sells for 41. A grand improvement. Perfect. And so, after buying yet more marble off the open market, I'm able to now build the temple, which provides a huge amount of belief as well as population in the local area. This belief is going to be enough to push us over our main milestone. Yes, each point of belief does boost up the productivity of all of our wine production, even more so, which is great, but the thing that I care about the most is this. The Vervicator's Plow. Basically, all farms can support up to 50% more fields, allowing them to have an extra plus 50% boost to their productivity. This can be absolutely insane when put into the right hands. And I'm now also going to continue my expansions by conquering a new territory. Ah yes, by conquering this land I've gone into debt. Well, this is pretty exciting because I'm going to decline the offer of money from the Emperor because I know what I'm doing, okay, Emperor? You don't need to panic. All is good, as our productivity is going to keep on spiraling. Belief in Ceres is endlessly climbing, meaning we are about to hit the 3,500 threshold for productivity, meaning more wine for everyone involved. Oh no, I'm going to lose my flagship. Don't lose the flagship, don't lose the flagship. Run, flagship, run. No! No, my flagship. There's so many goods on that game. That is so incredibly annoying.
Tomorrow.
Right, I've been growing up our lovely Roman environment for quite a while. The city of Gorgonia is looking absolutely fantastic. We've settled an additional island called Vineta here, whose purpose I will explain shortly, but the one thing I want to draw your attention to is that we are now able to start constructing the amphitheater. This is a huge building that costs a ridiculous amount of money and is actually built over multiple stages. It's really, really fun and very intense to actually finish off, but by simply having this bad boy built, our incredibly wealthy patricians will be all the more excited and happy. Okay, so what's going on with this island here? This is the island of Vineta, although we're going to be renaming it to I Love gold. Perfect. The I Love Gold island has one specific purpose. You see, by eventually reaching 1,000 patricians, we're able to build these lovely necklaces. Now, necklaces themselves are very fancy, but very costly to make, requiring things like minerals, refined gold, and then eventually artisanal jewelers. That entire process is quite a faff. However, I discovered it's actually much easier if you skip the process entirely and just mine gold. And so that's what I'm doing. These lovely little gold washers here have one exclusive purpose: harvest as much gold from the ground as possible. Now, the reason why it has to be on a separate island is because I need to dedicate this island to a different god, and that is Mercury. Because by dedicating this island to Mercury, we're able to increase our passive trade, which basically means any items sold on this island are done so with an extra 30% trade advantage. So that means I can go over here and set all of my gold ore for sale, and now when the next merchant comes to visit, they're likely to buy it and give us a few thousand gold in the process. So here comes a trade ship, and we have 8 lovely golden ore lying around. They're going to have a little think about what they're doing, and they buy all of it for 1,000 gold. Perfect stuff. Right, I've finally hit the next milestone I was aiming for. A global belief in the wonderful Mercury of 4,000, which unlocks the ability to build gold mines. Gold mines are truly ridiculous. Allow me to demonstrate over here. In this gold mine, I can produce 1 gold ore every 2 minutes and 30 seconds, which is roughly half the time of one of these gold washers. It costs the exact same amount of maintenance, and the fertility for the gold mines are relatively common. This means that I'm able to build 3 brand new gold mines on the I Love Gold island, all of whom will be massively boosting up our gold generation. So yes, I've built 4 brand new gold mines all over this province. However, specialists are what truly allow you to break the game. This here is a name I can't pronounce. They're a Cretan aqua artificer, and by slotting them into my governor villa, they're able to boost up our mines within range. So what I'm going to do is a little bit silly. I'm going to relocate my governor's villa so that it's able to reach all 3 of these mines. I'm then going to fire all of the specialists apart from this super special mining based one. And then to make sure our population aren't too upset, I'll build some of these little offices to provide boosts. So there we go. All 3 of these mines are now currently getting boosted. And every 2 minutes they're going to spew out more lovely, wonderful gold. And we can already see our first few deliveries of gold happening right now. Lovely. We're now making more gold than ever. These little mines are truly fantastic, and we can actually boost them further. Over here is a technology that allows us to boost the effectiveness of mines by using aqueducts, which is something that we can definitely do. Right, welcome back. We're nearing the end of our lovely Anno game because the economy is really starting to roar. The reason this is happening is largely because I've expanded into several different provinces, like Albion. Now, over in Albion, we have this lovely Emperor's representative who's willing to buy wine at an exorbitant price, as well as trousers for 35 silver. Now, trousers are incredibly easy to produce, and so I just sold 50 of them for 1,750. Trousers are dirt cheap, and we're mass producing them in this city of Mistletown, a lovely little settlement that's making us a lot of money. But the main reason why we care about this landscape is because of our lovely wine ship that sails all the way to Latium, loads up with 150 tons of wine, and then sails it up to Albion to get the locals a little bit tipsy. This trip is yielding us tens of thousands every single time it happens, meaning that yes, we are getting incredibly rich and wealthy. Now, when it comes to the real moneymaker, we've got a few options. Of course, we make a stupid amount of wine every single day, but we also now have some big purchase items like these loungers. Now, these loungers are utterly fantastic because not only are they worth significantly more than wine, they also sell for 197 silver when yeeted at the Emperor's representative. This is going to allow us to do some lovely and competitive trading. Wait, hang on a second, how did that ship get in there? Can't park that there, mate. You need a permit for that. Jeez. But hey, my big trade ship has now arrived for 2 main discoveries. Number 1, I want to buy the Unburdener, this gentleman who improves all of our trade prices. Then I want to see if I can sell these standing lyres. Ah yes, I can sell them for 143. This is for one very important reason. I have discovered that the blue AI over here sells these lyres for 124, meaning I can simply buy them, drive them half a postcode over to here, and sell them for significant profit. Splendid. Alright, so let's do a quick little manual trade and load ourselves up with a stupid amount of standing lyres. So yes, I'm going to invest in 17,000 denarii worth of lyres, sail them literally just an inch over to the left. I mean, look at that incredible distance we're crossing, and see the profits we can get. Alright, let's sell them all. Ah, perfect. 21,450 150 summoned straight out of thin air. And because the AI has of course settled multiple islands, that means I can just sail on over to the next one and repeat the process again, printing money out of thin air. So we arrive at the next island operated by Zaranitu. We then buy all of the lovely lyres and then dump them for profit. So huzzah, we sail back, dump all of our stock, and lovely free money printed out of thin air. But it's not even just them. We can literally sell nearly everything to anyone. All of the items this merchant sells can be sold at this trading post for a profit. Or in what can only be described as one of the transactions of all time, we can go over to this place and buy soap for 29 denarii and then sail it an inch over to the side and sell it to Dorian for 74. I don't think this gentleman knows how the economy works. Alright, I think I've done a splendid job of improving the entirety of the Roman Empire, so I'm just going to engage in some light decoration of my landmass. Yes, I might as well. I mean, it's not like we're using the land for anything else, so we might as well build a bunch of eternal fountains all over it. There we go, that way the archaeologists have something fun to discover in the future. Think of all the culture. Yes, look at that. As the water just blips on into existence. Splendid stuff. I can add a bunch of trees. I can add some fire sticks, of course. Everyone loves the big flamey sticks. Come on, bam. What's this, Benbarian? Abandoned residences? I don't care. Who would abandon the eternal flame of my glorious Roman Empire? It's truly beautiful. This is what peak Roman efficiency looks like. A bunch of people surrounded in flames, fountains everywhere, presumably, more wine than anyone could rationally drink at any point in time, and dubious accountancy that is causing hyperinflation and the collapse of meaningful trade. The sky's the limit in Anno, provided you're happy to engage in market manipulation. Perfectly balanced indeed, I know. Anyway, right, that's enough for today's video. I hope you've had a good insight into the lovely world of Anno, and you've learned the joyous importance of hyper-specialization of an economy, and to make friends with one of the smarter AIs who can produce late-game goods, and use it to sell those goods to another AI in a glorious triangle trade. Ah, perfectly balanced. Anyway, I've been playing this game for nearly 13 hours now, so yeah, I'm gonna go get a life, I guess, and touch grass. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed today's video and appreciate my dedication, then a like would be greatly appreciated. And I hope to see all of you in the next one, as it's getting cold outside, and that means more map games need to be played. Of course, a massive thank you to each and every one of our lovely YouTube members and Patreons for making all of this all the more possible, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.